My friends, welcome to this episode of the Outdoor Gear Review. I hope you all are doing well. To start this episode off, I have a question. Have you ever heard of a company called Fire Maple before? If you haven't heard of this company before, they're known for making a variety of stoves and cook sets, namely for like overland purposes and backpacking purposes. Additionally, the company makes a variety of lanterns and also heaters. Those were the products that they were known for up until today. Now they make backpacking tents. That's right, folks. Fire Maple just released a backpacking tent, and that's what this episode is all about. First things first, we need to take a look at the storage bag that is included. So right off the bat here, there is an issue. It's super minor, but there is an issue. It says Fire Maple here, and that's it. Nowhere else is there any other information, meaning the name of this product is not printed on the bag itself. The problem is that you're not going to be able to tell the difference between this tent and another tent. That's why companies label their storage bags. Again, this is super minor, but it is an issue. So for myself, I'll just have to take a Sharpie and write the name on this product here so I can know exactly what it is. Anyways, when it comes to the storage bag, we have a grab handle down at the bottom and we have a draw pull up here at the top. Okay, we have a corded compression strap, which is essentially garbage around the tent. Unfortunately, the company did not include a real compression strap, but rather something like this, which just ends up in the garbage. We have tent poles, tent stakes, and guy lines. We have the fly, and we have the body. With the Tropics two-person tent, it has been set up as far as the inner goes. The thing that really jumps out to you with this setup here is the amount of mesh. This tent is covered in mesh, which is a good thing because this is a 3-season tent. We should have good ventilation inside of this shelter here. This tent features a one-pole system that goes over the top of the tent and spreads out the inner. As you can see here, we do have a very aggressive bathtub floor that is quite high. If you're someone who has mobility issues, I would stay away from this tent because of that alone. This sticks up about 8 inches. It might even be 9 inches. So it is without a doubt quite aggressive. This is a 2-person tent and it does feature 2 doors. We have one right here and one on the other side. With each of these doors here, you have 2-way zippers and they can be rolled up and tied out of the way. The doors basically go up to the point here. That's where they unzip. So you can see that you have this wad here. Now, we have tie-offs here for this. This is just a little bit weird. Normally, you would have the zippers down in a corner so you can stuff it in that corner. This way, it almost makes you want to stuff it up here in the gear caddy. And that does work. On the inside of the tent here, we have tape seams. We also have 4 mesh pockets, 1 in each corner. We have 2 mesh gear caddies up at the top, and those caddies are removable. Now everyone, let's go ahead and let's measure the inside of this tent, starting with the peak height. Because of the gear caddies, the ceiling's a little bit low in here, and we're looking at 38 inches. Now again, you can remove those. Without the gear caddies, we're looking at 43 inches tall. As far as width goes, we're looking at 47 inches. As far as length goes, we are looking at 79 inches, which is 6 feet 7 inches. So without a doubt, this is a large tent. This tent features an impressive 6 guy lines. 3 on each side of this tent. Up at the tops, we have 2 vents, 1 on each side. We have storm flaps that go over the zippers. Again, this is a 2-person tent and we do have 2 doors with this shelter. Interestingly enough, when it comes to these doors, they could be rolled back in stages. So this is stage 1 right here, and this is stage 2 right here. and you could do that on both sides. Going over here to the sides of the tent, I am very glad to see that we could pull these sides out. That way you could separate the fly from the inner. This is going to assist with better ventilation, condensation control, and so on. Unfortunately, this company did make a mistake when it comes to this. The stakeout points here are non-adjustable. When it comes to the fly, the stakeout points are non-adjustable. That means that you pretty much have to set this up at like the world's most perfect campsite ever to get a good pitch. If you were out in the forest and the campsite was somewhat rugged, uneven, unlevel, this is not going to pitch nicely. You're going to have issues. And again, that's because the stakeout points are non-adjustable. Luckily, you can adjust this yourself. You can use some shock cord, 550 cord, whatever you want to, and you can make it so that you can actually adjust these, because you will need to. When it comes to the vents up here on the top of the fly, let's check those out. So basically it's a very simple system involving a small post and some Velcro. Now, it's nice that we have these vents, but unfortunately you cannot access them from the inside of the tent. So let's say that rain's coming in the middle of the night, you would have to get out and close this. Also, these vents, they are not that secure as far as wind and rain protection goes. So if it was a wind-driven rain, it can easily get to the inside of this tent because this does not offer much protection on the inside. With the fly here, this is again stage 1 as far as unfolding this. With this mode, you do have quite a bit of vestibule space, certainly enough for your backpack, some boots, and so on. This here is stage 2 as far as storing the door, and this gives you full access to the inside of the tent here. Let's just take a second here and let's go over some stats real quick. This is a semi-freestanding tent, meaning that you can pitch this tent without the use of tent stakes. The tent will stand on its own, but to get the best performance, you do need to stake it out. This is a 2-person tent, a 3-season tent. It is available in one color only, and you're looking at it. As far as the stored dimensions go, you're looking at 20.5 inches by 7.1 by 7.1 inches. When it comes to the materials, you're looking at a 20 denier nylon. That's for the fly. When it comes to the body, that's a B3 mesh, 20 denier nylon. The bottom of the tent is a 20 denier nylon too. The tent features aluminum poles and stakes. Unfortunately, the tent does not have YKK zippers. I took a close look at the zippers and I cannot tell what brand they are. I will say though that they are smooth. When it comes to the waterproof rating of this tent, unfortunately the company does not state this information, so I do not know. As far as weight goes, 4.3 pounds on my scale. Concerning the price of this tent, you're looking at $240 on the Fire Maple website. Now unfortunately, you cannot purchase this on Amazon. This is a big deal because a lot of people do not want to purchase outdoor gear from different sites and so on. They want to purchase it at Amazon so that they have that safety and protection. If there's an issue, they can easily return the product, get it swapped out, or get a refund. In this case, you cannot purchase this tent on Amazon. Hopefully this is something that Fire Maple can change in the future, and this is also true for many of their products. Anyways, the tent is $240 on the Fire Maple website, and they charge an additional $20 for a footprint, which is pretty expensive. Now everyone, I will list for you all that is included with this tent if you decide to purchase it. You get the Rainfly, the inner, you get the 1-pole system, you get 14 tent stakes, you get the 6 guy lines that are on the tent, and you receive 4 additional guy lines. You get a patch kit, the storage bag for the poles, and the tent stakes, and that's that. This tent does have a few more features that I should mention. First off, you can set up the tent without the inner on the inside. Basically, you can set it up with the poles and the fly itself for a quick shelter. The second thing that I should mention is this. When it comes to the fly here, it can be set up as a sort of awning, just like this. If you have a trekking pole, you can use one of the guide lines and the trekking pole together, and you can anchor this out, and basically you have an awning, a very small awning. Now everyone, it's time to go over my thoughts and impressions concerning this tent so far. So as far as quality goes, this is a very well made tent. There's no issues with the seam tape, the stitches, the seams, nothing like that. I haven't seen any loose threads. Everything about this shelter is high quality for sure. This also applies to the materials with the exception of the zippers. I'm not sure what they are. Everything else here really does look good from the perspective of high quality materials. The setup process is nice and easy. It is identical to many outdoor backpacking tents. You're not going to have any issues here at all. There's nothing that's going to trip you up or anything like that. As far as the size of this tent, I am impressed. This is a 2-person tent where both individuals will have enough space for themselves, their sleeping pads, and a little bit of extra gear. This tent is quite long. Speaking of which, if you're a taller individual, you may want to consider this shelter. There's plenty of space for both individuals to sit up on the inside, change clothes, do whatever that you need to do. You can even use the vestibule space to cook in the morning, to make some coffee, and so on. Speaking of vestibule space, there's enough space for boots, a backpack, so on and so forth. When it comes to the ventilation of this tent, it is excellent. The company has done a good job here. First off, we have mesh all over the inside of the tent. Second, the fly pulls away from the inner, so you have good ventilation going underneath that fly, getting to you. That's going to help keep you cool in the summer months, and it's also going to help with condensation. When it comes to the value of this tent, this is a sticking point for this shelter, $240 as is. In the world of tents, this is not terrible, but when you compare this to other similar shelters, it does make you think for a second. The thing is this costs $240. This is a shelter that is very comparable to the Nature Hike Mongar, which can be purchased for over $100 less. With the economy being what it is, with people having less money, it does make a major difference. When it comes to the weight and the storage size of this tent, the weight isn't bad for what this is, but it's not ultralight by any means. When you compare this to, again, the Mongar 2, the Mongar 2 is over $100 less, and it's even lighter weight than this, and it's made from basically the same materials. The storage size is very good, very comparable to other two-person tents that are made with the same materials. With all that's been said so far in this episode, I've certainly given you all a lot to think about. Now I want to hear from you all. What do you all think about the Tropics two-person tent? The tent is, in my opinion, imperfect, but luckily the flaws are small and you can address most of them yourself. With this being the first tent from Fire Maple, I think this is a very strong start. They can certainly build upon this and make this a better shelter, but from the get-go, they're doing a lot right here. I do have a question for Fire Maple though. Who made this tent? Because this tent is extremely similar, very, very close to the Nature Hike Mongar. Not only in the size, the features, the way that it sets up and so on, but with the tent stakes, the materials, the guy lines. It feels like to me, they went to basically the same manufacturer for Nature Hike or 3FU Well, and they got this tent produced. Now there's nothing wrong with that, it's just a question that I have that just came to me. There's so many of these products out there being made by the same manufacturer, and basically all that they're doing is slapping a different logo on there. There are some changes here with this tent, right? But they are minor. For the most part, this tent is very similar to many other shelters that are out on the market today. With that being said, Fire Maple, there are a few things that you can do to make this tent better, and hopefully you do that with the Tropics 2.0, you know, version 2, whatever you want to call it, I don't know. But all in all, this is a good start, Fire Maple. Make sure to sound off in the comment section down below, Wolfpack, and know this, I appreciate every single one of you. Before you go, hit the thumbs up, especially if you found this episode helpful. I will see you all around again soon. Strength and honor. Bye for now.